What's up, YouTube? Welcome or welcome back to the Saving Men's Lives Network, where all men and boys are welcome, and our issues treated with the respect that they deserve, where excellence is our goal, a place to remind you that you are loved, that you do have intrinsic value, and suggest that you do yourself no harm. Fellas, yet again, we find ourselves on the chopping block and in the crosshairs of the woke in our society. It spread as far south as down under to Sydney, Australia. It's a nightclub down there named Club 77 that has issued a brand new policy. You got to hear it to believe it. It's really insane. Sydney nightclub expands harassment policy to include staring without consent. Club 77 is also making changes to their security staff in order to better enforce the policy. This is an article written by a Cameron Sunkel, perhaps Sunkel, I'm not entirely certain, but the article is as stupid as this guy's last name. A nightclub in Australia is taking steps in a series of efforts to strengthen its culture of consent. Sydney's Club 77 is expanding its zero-tolerance harassment policy to ban unwanted staring, according to a statement issued by the venue. Quote, "As a nightclub, we encourage you to interact with strangers. However, any engagement must begin with verbal consent," reads a post shared by Club 77's Instagram page. Quote, "This also applies if you are, for example, staring at someone from afar. If the attention you are giving someone is unwanted, that is considered harassment," close quote. Elsewhere in the statement, Club 77 states the venue is not solely a place for pickup and reiterates that giving fellow club goers any unwanted attention is in violation of the harassment policy. Now, gentlemen, those of you who are dating right now, those of you guys who hit the nightclubs frequently, you know as well as I know that the nightclub is, by definition, a dark place. It's often pretty loud because the DJ's blasting music. There's alcohol involved. And it's a tight space. It's very, very rare is a club big enough where folks can really spread out. So it's, you're tight in there to begin with. It's a dark environment and it's loud. So what other of your senses are left? Touch, which would include dancing, bumping and grinding, the twerk outs, all that shit. And then you also have what you can see in that dark, smoky room. Now they're telling guys they can't even look at women without being called harassers, but it gets better. The venue has maintained that they are keeping their ear to the ground for customer feedback. And the critics of the policy have been very vocal in sharing their belief that the rules may undermine the potential for any social interaction at all outside of one's immediate contacts. In other words, if you, for example, came to the club with 3 or 4 of your boys, y'all rode up there together, maybe in 2 carloads. You rode up there together and you go to a club that has this type of policy in place. Well, the only people you're going to talk to in safety are the guys you came with. They know you. They came with you. They're not going to report you to Big Brother for having a conversation with them and talking to them. But you didn't come to the club just to talk to your homeboys in most cases. It goes on. Club 77 has explained that to better enforce the policy, they are appointing 1 security guard nightly to function as the, quote, safety officer, unquote, wearing a pink... wearing a pink high visibility vest. The officer will be accessible to concert goers and respond to complaints as they arise, according to the club. Consequences of violation include removal from the grounds, and police may also be notified. Club 77 has long been a staple of the Sydney nightlife scene and has been operating for over 25 years. Okay, so fellas, okay, all right. So let's break this down, shall we? They're gonna have one of the bouncers walking around in a cotton candy colored vest, and he's the no, you're looking too long officer at a nightclub. The depths of stupidity in a policy such as this cannot be overstated, gentlemen. They're telling us, at least to my guys in Australia, and shout out to all my guys down under, I've been to Australia. It is a beautiful country full of very beautiful people. I had a great time there. I had the time of my life down there. But we never were faced with this issue. I cannot understand how the depths of depravity of the woke never shakes them out of their core. It makes no sense in a place that's literally designed to make merchandise of men. That's right, I'm going there, fellas. Nightclubs exist specifically to let women in for free if they're still young and attractive, to make men pay a cover charge at the door. Once in there, the women are known drink scammers, and the bar is counting on you to buy multiple marked up drinks because you want to get a buzz. That's part of the reason why you're there. And if you are the kind of guy that buys women drinks, she's gonna want one or two, and if that don't go right, you gotta get another chick on the floor and get her one or two, and then you gotta get another. By the time the night's over with, you've already dropped 150, 200 bucks between getting in there in the first place and the alcohol you bought for yourself, maybe a couple drinks for your homeboys, a couple shots for them, and these girls you're trying to take home and do whatever, right? And these nightclubs know that. It is a place that is designed from scratch, from the ground up, to squeeze your pockets. And now they're telling us that you can't even look at them, quote unquote, too long without being called a harasser. Gentlemen, everybody in this audience knows women love to, quote, move the goalposts. And what I mean by that is they'll have a set of rules in place for themselves. And when those rules start to no longer benefit them, they have no problem changing the rules in the middle of the game. How many times have you guys as little boys had your mom or one of your aunties tell you to do something and it didn't make no damn sense when they told you to do it? It was stupid to even ask you for that, but they also knew that as the adult in the situation, they had the authority to make you do that stupid thing. You, being a logical, rational man, even as a little boy, you probably ask, why would I do that thing? Why should I do that? That's dumb. They didn't respond, you're right. They responded, stop talking back. They responded, do what I said because I said so. Because they could get away with that. Now fast forward to when you were old enough to start dating women. We're talking middle school, high school, those you guys in college and in the Navy, in the military. You know, at that point, the exact same game was played on you, except in a different category. I bring that up to say this. If Drake and Brad Pitt, Chris Hemsworth were to walk into that Club 77 and they saw a woman that they liked and was, quote, staring, unquote, at these women, you really think this idiot dressed in pink would come over there and say, you've been staring too long, Mr. Drake, we need to escort you off the property? No. Because for the man they want, for the man that checks off their little boxes, that's handsome enough, he can't stare long enough. There's nothing he can't do. That's not okay for the guy she wants. But for the women who don't find you attractive, all of a sudden you've been lumped into a category of men you don't belong in, harassers, creeps, when you're none of those things. You're just a guy at a nightclub trying to have a good time, and if it turns into something bigger than that, then fantastic. But now you're going to almost criminalize. Remember, the article said that police might get involved. So now you've got a charge on your record. How's this going to affect your ability to get an apartment? How's it going to affect your ability to gain employment? If you want a better job, they're going to ask you, have you ever been charged with a crime? And you need to answer honestly in case they sick the background check on you. And they found you lied on your application. Now you're out of luck, all because some woman who didn't think you were attractive enough thought you were looking at her too long. This is insane. And what I hope happens is that the men in Australia don't picket in front of the building. You don't yell and scream on social media. That they don't I don't know if Yelp is in Australia or if they have an Australian equivalent of Yelp and vote the place down to 1 star. No. Fellas in Australia and guys in Australia on vacation, don't do any of those things. Just stop walking in the place. There should be a silent boycott of all men in Australia of Club 77. Most clubs are in what I would call a club district, meaning they got that club right there. A few feet down the street, there's another one, and then a few more and a few more. I would say, hey, for those of you guys who still hit the clubs, go to a different club. Take your time, your presence, and your money to a place that doesn't have a policy like this or anything close. Take your time, your presence, your attention, and your money to their competition. And don't say nothing. Make Club 77 a lesbian bar by default because no men are in there except the guys who work there and are paid to be there by the club itself, like the bartenders and the DJ and the bouncers. Let the only men in that building be the people who own the place and the folks who are on payroll. And when they start seeing how much money they're losing, maybe they'll reverse course, maybe they won't. But just like Gillette razors, after pulling a stunt like that, with that commercial they did a few years ago, I'll never buy another one. And you guys, even if they revoke this policy a month from now or 3 months from now when they've lost so much money because of it, I still say don't go back in there. Because people will always tell you what they really want from you. They don't like you in there, fellas. They don't like you in there. And I don't want to see any of my guys get hemmed up on false allegations. I don't want to see any of my guys just casually glance in a woman's direction and she make the decision you harassed her, which is quite different, by the way, from you actually harassed her. Be aware, gentlemen, and beware of these people in our society who are looking for any excuse to play the victim card. Don't let it be you. Don't let it be you. Spread this message to your friends and family. Spread this message to your homeboys at work. Spread this message to everybody you know, especially if they're going to be in Australia for the next few days or they're going to be there next week or next month. Let them know Club 77 is off limits to any self-respecting man who knows his time and his money are very valuable to him, and they should be spent where they're going to be respected. With that said, that's my time, fellas. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to be notified when I drop a new video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this policy down in Australia. Do you think it'll spread to other places like here in the West? Sure hope not. And share this video with a friend, a family member, or a young man you mentor if you think he can benefit from what it is we discuss here. Never let your brother suffer in silence when the truth will set him free. Till next time, fellas, to Saving Men's Lives Network. Plenty more to come.